When you think about Call of Duty Zombies, I would bet that you're going to think about stuff like the ray gun, Juggernog, Transit, Pack-a-Punch, all of these things that are absolutely iconic and integral to the mode that is Call of Duty Zombies. But one very specific thing that does define this mode is the mystery box, and you can't really have Call of Duty Zombies without having a mystery box. Can you? I mean, it's an interesting question because the mystery box is such a core piece of the identity of COD Zombies that not having it in a map or not having it in a game would feel a little weird. But the question is, those of you astute zombie players who have been playing since the very beginning, I'm sure you know better than anybody, has the mystery box changed, or has it evolved for the better or for the worse? What we're gonna do is take a look at the mystery box in every single Treyarch Call of Duty Zombies game and how it started as an integral feature and became iconic to the mode to where now it almost feels like a relic of the past and an obsolete feature that Call of Duty Zombies may be moving away from. But real quick, I want to thank our sponsor. This video is sponsored by Spectre Divide. Look, if you've been bored currently with the offering of FPS games at the moment and are looking for something really fresh, Spectre Divide has a very unique approach to gameplay and a skill-based FPS. It's a 3v3 tactical shooter with an unexpected twist. This game lets you pilot and control two bodies at once so that you can defend more than one point. It's a new level of skill expression that I think is always interesting to see personally when it comes to a new game. Spectre Divide is set in the city of Breakwater, where mastering the sport of Santai makes you a champion. In Spectre, there are no preset characters. You create your pair personally to climb the ranks of high-level combat, and it's a truly unique experience to you as a player. With Spectre Divide being free to play and coming to console full crossplay, plus their biggest update yet, including a brand new battle pass, a new sponsor, a new map, and optimized gameplay, this is the competitive shooter you've been waiting to master. So go check it out and download it for free using the link down below. Thank you so much to Spectre Divide for sponsoring this video. Okay, so let's look at the humble beginnings of the mystery box in Call of Duty World at War, appearing in the first ever Zombies map as the means by which you get different weaponry. Of course, the entire point of Nocturne Toten was to survive in this small bunker for as long as physically possible using any means necessary, and the means that would make that survival necessary were to usually be found in the mystery box. This is where a lot of the guns that are actually worth using can be found. Many of the guns in World at War, especially off the wall, are kind of pointless and weak past like round 7, so you kind of have to hit the box to get something worth using, whether that be a flamethrower, a ray gun, or something just even like an LMG. The point is, the mystery box is there waiting for you to take a gamble on it, take a spin, and you might get something amazing like a ray gun or a Bren LMG, but you also might get something like a scoped Kar 98K. It's a bit of a gamble, and there's something really gratifying about getting an amazing weapon, but it wasn't always good because the mystery box also had some genuinely bad guns, so it was a risk either way, but it was your only lifeline into getting at least powerful enough to handle the zombies for a bit longer. As World at War maps would go on, the mystery box would have a feature where it would start to move locations. So after a couple of spins on the mystery box, you might get a teddy bear, and that would move the location of that box to a couple different spots around the map. This meant that in order to, get back to the mystery box to get good weapons that will help you fight off zombies for longer, you would need to explore the map a little bit more, and you couldn't simply just rely on this one location all the time. It encouraged map exploration and made every map feel a little bit different from playthrough to playthrough. After World at War, with the introduction of the Pack-a-Punch machine, the mystery box would change somewhat as it had a new selection of weapons in Black Ops 1. The thing with the mystery box in Black Ops 1 is that it largely is the same idea as how it was in World at War, but the main difference now is that it really encourages you to not only select the weapon that you like out of the mystery box, but you also want to think about the effect that it has when it's pack-a-punched. These things work in tandem. You want to get a good gun out of the box, but it's also a gun that you want to, perform well when pack-a-punched, because in BO1, a lot of those weapons have like very specific attributes when upgrading them. For example, when you pack-a-punch the M16, you get a grenade launcher, or if you upgrade the AUG, you get this like underbarrel shotgun. Some people like these, some people don't, and it's definitely up to you, and that works in tandem with what you want out of the mystery box. The thing also with BO1 was that there were some genuinely horrifically bad weapons in the mystery box. I'm looking at you. And also, not every gun was just about sheer raw killing potential. Like the crossbow, when you upgrade it, would attract zombies, kind of like a pocket monkey bomb you could use. And something like the ballistic knife is pretty much useless when it comes to offense, but shooting your teammates with it was able to revive them. It was a really cool feature. And if you're a player that likes to be a medic and keep your teammates alive, the upgraded ballistic knife is not a bad idea. So you could turn something just absolutely tragic from the mystery box and make it useful if you wanted to. Now, when it comes to Black Ops 2, things started to get pretty interesting because in World at War and Black Ops 1, the only real reliable way to get wonder weapons was from the mystery box, thus making it a very valuable asset to go after and spend your points on. In those games, the mystery box was your best friend, like period. And in Black Ops 2, it is very similar. However, you now have the option to sometimes build wonder weapons, right? On Transit, you can build the jet gun. Die Rise, you can build this liquefier, the acid gat and blunder gat on Mob of the Dead, like the list goes on. The origin stabs, don't even get me started. Basically, BO2 was really about buildables, and to get some of the best weaponry in the game, it was actually no longer found in the mystery box. While this didn't completely devalue it, as there was some really good stuff to be found in there, another big change that BO2 made to the box was that they would start adding map-specific weapons to the mystery box, and I thought this was a fantastic idea and something that I feel we're desperately missing in modern zombies. So, for example, stuff like the MG08 can only be found on Origins. This is a very specific LMG that fits the aesthetic and tone of Origins, or on Mob of the Dead, you can get the Death Machine and you can get the AK-47. Those can only be found there. On Origins, you can also get the KSG only on that map. The list goes on. There's stuff that you can only get a specific experience on a very specific map thanks to the mystery box, and it's complete chance whether it gives it to you or not. But either way, it added tons of replayability because sometimes if that's your favorite weapon, that will make you want to play that map for that reason alone. The other important thing with the mystery box in Pack-a-Punch in Black Ops 2 was that you could take a box weapon and Pack-a-Punch it as normal to, obviously make it stronger or give it a different effect, but then you could upgrade it again to give it another different attachment. For example, you could take the DSR, you could Pack-a-Punch it and give it an iron sight instead, or a suppressor for whatever reason. Basically, you could make these features a little bit more customizable and kind of your own, even though they're still a base weapon from the mystery box. But with that being said, the mystery box was still insanely valuable in Black Ops 2 because unless you're going after a wonder weapon that you're building, pretty much still the only reliable way to get good weapons would be from the mystery box, encouraging you to spend your money on it. However, in Black Ops 3, I think is where the mystery box started to get a little bit weird. Something strange happened with Black Ops 3, and I think it's just because of the direction that the game was heading in, where it was slightly less about the just raw survival sandbox of the game and more about this quest that you can go on to become more powerful. I think that's a big fundamental shift in what changed the mystery box, but it really started in Black Ops 3, I think, because in all of the previous games, the mystery box was full of amazing weapons, average weapons, and downright stinkers, obviously. But in Black Ops 3, there really isn't any bad guns in the mystery box. Everything is either average or really good, and even some of the seemingly most useless weapons like the XM53 has really specific cases in the DE boss fight and stuff. You can still absolutely use that. Virtually everything in the Black Ops 3 mystery box was at least usable or pretty good, and there was nothing that I felt was amazing in it, right? And even the ray gun is just, the ray gun sucks eggs in Black Ops 3. We all know that. That was the whole controversy with that game initially, is the ray gun is trash. Originally, the most coveted weapon in the game from World at War and even in to Black Ops 1, the ray gun was the thing that you wanted. That's what made other people in public lobbies jealous. But it started to be kind of trash in BO3 and outclassed by a regular weapon with dead wire. So it got a little bit confusing and complicated there, and alternate ammo types just made that a little bit more strange because in higher rounds, pretty much every gun was the same as far as effectiveness goes. An RK5 with dead wire was not really much different than an HVK with dead wire. They're pretty much the same thing as far as killing power goes. If you're at a relatively higher round, why would you not just use the RK5 with dead wire? Why would you have any incentive to go hit the mystery box at that point? If you've already gotten the wonder weapon or you have the specialist, then there's no need to go after and hit the mystery box. It's not going to give you anything better at that point. Black Ops 3 was also a bit strange in this aspect because they really did focus on either crafting or building wonder weapons there, but also the specialists that could be acquired on each map. These two things in combination, I think, also kind of devalued the mystery box. Although it wasn't completely useless because, again, on some maps, they had a very specific gun, like the Marshals on Zetsubo or the PPSH specifically in Gorod Krovi and stuff like that. So while it wasn't totally useless, the game was evolving in a way where there was a meta to be had. And so on Der Eisendrache, why would I ever go and hit the mystery box when I can grab a KRM off the wall for insane DPS against like a Panzer and then just go craft the Stormbow? You know what I'm saying? Like, there was no reason to hit the box on a few of these maps. Other than stuff like Gorod Krovi or maybe Revelations, the box was kind of pointless in those maps specifically. And things got even stranger when we go over to Black Ops 4, because at least in my opinion, Black Ops 3 was the last Call of Duty Zombies game to truly have a primary focus on survival and that kind of like sandbox survival gameplay. From Black Ops 3 onwards, I think the fundamental shift in the zombies formula was definitely there, and Black Ops 4 is a bit of the weird bridge, where it tries to retain a lot of these survival elements, right, such as building barriers, but it's also obviously very quest focused. And so this would be the first game in history that would allow you to choose your starting weapon, because every other game and map before it, you would start with a pistol, like the 1911 or, you know, one of those things. And in this game, you could choose like the Welling or the Strife or, you know, a SOG, just a weak powered SMG. It didn't give you a ton of options, but you had a little wiggle room of what you wanted to begin the match with. But obviously, after a couple of rounds, you would still want to swap it out for something else. And if there wasn't like a desirable wall buy on that map, then yeah, you would definitely want to go and hit the mystery box. But the problem with Black Ops 4's mystery box was that it basically had one weapon that everybody wanted, and it was by far the most useful thing to use, and in fact kind of required if you wanted to do some of the boss fights solo. Like, there really isn't another weapon as capable of getting the job done other than the Hellion Salvo, so that was the only thing you wanted out of the box. But the other really big problem was that upon starting a match in Black Ops 4, you already spawned in with the best weapon in the game. The specialist kind of made the mystery box a little bit redundant. If you already had a good wall buy or something, or if you didn't need something out of the mystery box for that particular run, you didn't have any incentive to go after the mystery box because you've already got the best weapon in your pocket. It's just that unless you need to get the Hellion Salvo, there wasn't much reason to go after the mystery box. That on top of the fact that as Black Ops 4's life cycle went on, they would dilute the mystery box with so many brand new weapons, because while Black Ops 4 was great about adding new guns to the game, they added them universally on all maps, meaning, you know, getting the chances of hitting the Hellion Salvo, for example, was a lot lower when the game was at the end of its lifespan, because they added so many weapons to the box rotation that statistically it was just more difficult to acquire. But still, at the end of the day, despite the very strange pack-a-punch system in Black Ops 4 and the weird things that specialists did to the mystery box, it still was at least fairly useful in that game, and it was still something worth going after. It would be the next game that would completely change the trajectory of the mystery box forever. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. This was, I think, the first zombies game to shift from being a primarily focused survival gameplay into an action-adventure RPG. Black Ops 4 was definitely trending in that RPG-esque direction, but Cold War really took it to the next level, with stuff like the Ethereum upgrade trees, and then, most importantly, completely being able to customize your loadout, even down to attachments, and bringing literally any gun you want into the game. Now, obviously, that sounds overpowered. If you could just play a game of Der Riese or Nocturne Tone and spawn in with any weapon, that wouldn't really be much fun, now would it? But the thing is, with Cold War, you're able to now upgrade the rarity of your weapon, and that is actually what determines your damage more than anything else. I mean, Pack-a-Punch included, but still, weapon rarity could take a similar gun, and if the rarity was higher, you would simply be doing more damage. So you'd have like your starting rarity, green, blue, purple, and then finally legendary. Now, I think this kind of made the mystery box entirely null and void and absolutely pointless in Cold War. You could make the case that, you know, there is a chance that hitting the mystery box in any of these maps can give you a higher rarity weapon than what you're already holding. And that is true. You know, you can get a legendary gun at like round 5 if you get exceptionally lucky, but it's not very common, and also, more importantly, it's most likely not the actual gun you want to be using. Sure, it's a higher rarity and stuff, but that means you have to sacrifice using the gun that you actually want to be using, just because like like the rarity doesn't match, right? Now, also in Cold War, you have the ability to increase the rarity of your weapon with a currency called scrap. You know, you can take your loadout gun, which is like a gray rarity weapon, and make it all the way legendary with enough scrap, and you usually get it around like 25 or around 30, something like that, and then your weapon is fully powered, and it's the gun you want to be using. You got to work for it. So there is a little bit of progression there. I don't think it's a bad system entirely on its own. My point is, I think it makes the mystery box itself pointless. I know loadouts are controversial, and honestly, I'm not exactly in love with them either, but I understand their point in the game when Zombies is more of an RPG instead of a sandbox survival game. Loadouts kind of work better for that style of gameplay. They don't work better for a survival sandbox, but the mystery box was built for survival sandbox gameplay, so it doesn't really fit that well in Cold War. However, the next game would, I think, be the worst implementation, and you thought I forgot about this one, but I didn't. Modern Warfare Zombies. I'm going to say that this is worth talking about because this is by far the worst implementation of the mystery box in Zombies by a mile. The thing is, I literally can't recall pretty much ever hitting the mystery box outside of like my first 1 or 2 playthroughs of MWZ. And the other thing was that the mystery box would spawn in an entirely random location, and because the map is literally huge, you would have to go so far out of your way to try to track down the mystery box with no guarantee of getting the thing that you actually want. Now you could say, well, Chop, there's wonder weapons in there, but the thing with Modern Warfare Zombies is that there's also schematics. If you have them unlocked, you can literally spawn in with the wonder weapon that's in the box. So tell me, if you already have the highest tier rarity of the bullet weapon you want to be using and the wonder weapon right off the bat, what incentive would there be ever to go after the mystery box? The thing is, there is none in MWZ, and I think they only have the mystery box in the game because it's Call of Duty Zombies, and it would be blasphemous to not have it. But now we move over to where we are in Black Ops 6, and this is where I have a bit of a problem with the box, and the problems from Cold War do feel a little bit amplified here. The thing is that they've really pushed the idea of spawning in with the weapon that you most likely want to be using for the rest of the game. They give you all these options to customize that gun. They allow you to, basically make it legendary rarity from the very beginning with a gobblegum. There isn't really a point to going after the mystery box. All of the maps have their own buildable wonder weapon, so it's like, I mean, sure, you can try to get a weapon you don't want of a higher rarity, and occasionally that's useful, but do you really want to trade it out for your loadout weapon that will probably eventually be legendary rarity if you play long enough? Now, some people will make the argument that the mystery box in Black Ops 6 is useful to get other weapons to grind camos with, and it's like, okay, fair enough. A lot of people will try to grind a bunch of different guns in a single game, but let me ask you this. Is that really the point of getting those weapons? Or rather, is it really the mystery box itself that you need to get these other weapons? Like, what if there was just an armory instead that you manually choose what weapon you want next? Would that really be so different as far as like Black Ops 6 gameplay goes than just getting it out of the mystery box? I don't really think so. So the question is, why is it still in the game? Well, because it's random and it's fun, and it's the mystery box from COD Zombies, obviously. But I would make the case that I don't think it really has a place in the game anymore. Now, I'm not saying they should get rid of it. I'm not advocating for we need to get rid of the mystery box, nor do I think it's entirely useless, because you can do some interesting things with Gobblegum, and also, I want to be fair to Black Ops 6. They did something that I really like, which is give a lot of the pack-a-punched weapons their own unique effects. That's awesome. I think it's one of the best things about BO6, and it's kind of reminiscent of Black Ops 1 and makes the mystery box a little bit useful in that capacity. But still, with the emphasis on loadouts, I think it's completely contradictory to how the mystery box works and what its original function was. Again, I'm not saying that we should get rid of the mystery box. I don't think I want them to eviscerate it from the game, but I think you get my point that it really doesn't serve the function that it was originally made for, because the fundamental framework of Zombies has changed so much, and I think the mystery box doesn't really fit that framework anymore. To me, it kind of feels like a relic of the past. It's there because it's the thing from Call of Duty Zombies, and maybe that's fine. Again, you don't need to go after the mystery box in COD Zombies anymore, but that's maybe okay because the loadout system has been fairly developed over the last couple years. I don't hate the loadout system, nor do I think it's, completely cringe to be able to pick the gun you bring in. I think there's a lot of fun and utility in that. However, I just don't think that in the mystery box will ever coincide with one another, and it's just because Zombies as a whole has changed quite a lot. Now, I guess the only question to ask is, well, what do you do about this problem? How do you make the mystery box useful in a mode where Modern Zombies is very centered on the loadout system and upgrading the weapon that you bring into the game? I don't know, but I think one potential solution is have weapons that can only be acquired in the mystery box, right? Maybe a map can have its wonder weapons. It can have, the ice staff, the ray gun, stuff like that, associated with the quest. But also, maybe if there were a few weapons that could only ever be gotten from the mystery box, maybe specific wonder weapons that are box only, that aren't necessary to the game, like you don't need them to complete a quest or something. They're there as an added bonus to make maps feel a bit more replayable and make every run feel a little bit different, because that's the other thing. A lot of maps feel exactly the same because not only are the entire selection of weapons the same map to map, but you also just don't really ever experience them because you're most likely using your loadout weapon. I feel like that's the only real solution at the moment, because the mystery box is just so out of place in Modern Zombies. It's literally that old guy at the club that people look at and go, yeah, I've seen you before. Mystery Box started as your best friend, your portal to legendary weapons in fighting off the undead horde, your actual lifeline, to where it is now a bit of a relic of past times and something that is not really synonymous with modern gameplay experiences. And it's just kind of there, in my opinion, because it is Call of Duty Zombies, and it would be weird to have a zombies game without it. But is it really necessary to have the box in Modern Zombies anymore? I don't know, but we'll see what they do with it in the future. I still think there's room for it, but I don't know how they'll handle it going forward.